So you have obviously there's a Christmas Eve party. Everybody leaves. The guests leave, and what we now, we know that obviously everything leads up to what happened here. You have this little girl in bed sleeping. Somebody is obviously doing things to her that should not be ever done. And so what you're saying, sir, is that somebody used it, and then this game was being played.
Yeah. Well, let's talk, Jeff, about the Christmas business too. You remind me of another point. They have visited. You're a little incorrect in your facts. They have visited some close friends on
Christmas
the
Eve.
day before.
The day before.
Okay, so here's what the story is. Listen, this is the Ramsey story. They got home late, and because it was so late, and the kids were tired, they put them to bed immediately. Okay, well that makes sense. Except that JonBenét is not found in the clothes that she had been wearing. Number one, and number two, by the way, Patsy Ramsey, who is 5:30 in the morning, and she's just gotten up, and so on. Well, and she comes there when the cops come there. Guess what? Patsy Ramsey is wearing the same outfit pretty much that she had worn the night before. Her hair is nicely combed, and makeup and so on. Do you think she did that from the time she read the note 5:30 to the time she called the cops at 5:50 till the time the cops arrived? Do you think she was worried about whether her hair was combed or whether her makeup was on? What do you think, fellas? What do you think?
Yeah, exactly.
Were there Christmas presents out?
And let me throw in a couple of other things. Two neighbors, one neighbor across the street, heard what she described as a sound like a scream somewhere around midnight. She wasn't sure what time, but it was quite late at night. Another neighbor heard something too, and those people are just the neighbors across the way who told the story. Now, then somebody say, well, what was going on here, and how come, and what about the body, and so on. Well, let me tell you something. That the garage door was known to make a little bit of noise. Number one. Number two, a very, very thin patina, very thin film layer of snow had fallen, so that if the garage door were to be opened,
there would have been footprints.
And somebody were to drive away, number one, a noise, and number two, tread marks on the newly fallen snow. So now we can't drive away, and so on. So, the body is going to remain there, right?
So
that's
this is Christmas morning that this was all found?
Christmas morning, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
Christmas Day, you're right.
Did anybody find any, did the investigators?
No, not Christmas Day, the 26th.
It was the 26th, it was the day after Christmas.
Day being her death, but it was really...
They found her the 26th, so it was the whole day, okay.
The visits the visits to other families were made. Oh, I forgot another thing. Guess what? Her favorite food, JonBenét, which was not served at any of the homes where they had visited, was found in her stomach. Okay?
I remember reading that in the autopsy.
Remember
yes.
that? The parents said that when they got home, the kids were asleep and they just tucked them right into bed. Well, then you tell me how that particular food product got in her stomach and remained in her stomach. Digestion, 2 hours, 4 hours, and an adult with a big, fatty, greasy meal, 6 hours. But in any event, whatever the time was, doesn't make any difference because that particular piece of food, article of food, was not served at anybody's home. It was only present in the Ramsey home.
Great point. I have two quick questions.
But it was in JonBenét's stomach. I mean, you're dealing with hard forensic scientific facts here. My God. I mean, and for people like Alex Hunter and the other apologists out there and all of the Ramsey sycophants and apologists and so on, and that now former DA, it's disgraceful, absolutely disgraceful.
Two quick questions. I'll let Jeff get back in here. One of them is legal. You may or may not be able to answer. It seems the way you're breaking this down, my first question will be to you, is this a sick game that had been being played that had gone too far, and then something had to be done about it? This young girl died, and it then turns into a cover-up, but a game that had been going on a long time.
Well, yes, I've already told you.
Right.
It's not I'm not engaging in conjecture. I'm telling you the hard facts. This is not an interpretation of mine. This is not a subjective evaluation. I'm telling you that a significant part of the hymen of this 6-year-old girl is absent. That
Right.
there
That's
is
not normal.
chronic erosion. Chronic to a pathologist means beyond 48, 72 hours. You can't be more precise than that. Could be much longer, but no less than 48 hours. And the finding of the birefringent material I've told you about. So you've got the superficial erosion. You've got the chronic inflammation, both of which are seen microscopically. You've got the birefringent material found microscopically, and you've got the absence of a part of the hymen. Now, that tells you that whatever had been done with this little girl, and by whomever, had been done one or more times previous to the evening, the night on which she met her fatal, tragic end. That's what it tells you. That is hard forensic science.
Agreed, doctor. And my next follow-up to that was, did Linwood or attorneys or people involved, did they get the upper hand, and then a lot of times that happens, and then actually get the advantage there on the prosecutor, on the police department, and just really get the upper hand and scare everybody off? Did they get the upper hand on this case?
Yeah, I don't know. Wait, be careful. I don't think Linwood was involved at that time.
Okay, the attorneys, I should have said then. How about the attorneys?
The attorneys, and I've just momentarily forgotten his name. I knew it so well. But anyway, no, the attorneys were Colorado attorneys. I think Linwood came to be involved later on.
To file a suit, yeah.
Filing lawsuits and threatening people.
That's what I'm talking about, Cyril Wecht.
That's his forte. Yeah, that's what he does.
But is that what happened then? The upper hand was grabbed by the Ramseys or whoever. I never really wanted to point the finger at any one person in this case. It is so mind-boggling and confusing. But is that what happened here? It looks like the attorneys really got the upper hand here, which rarely happens with the police department.
You keep coming back. Look, is it necessary to name names when you've got two adults in the house? And as I've said, and I want to repeat, the police have cleared Burke. So you gentlemen and I are not going to say anything that would suggest that he was involved.
No, never have.
No.
All right,
No.
so Burke has been cleared. That leaves Mommy and Daddy. And this business about an outside intruder, you know what I like to say? That when you see, I don't have any hair on the top of my head, okay? I like to say, when I grow a full head of hair, like I had when I was 18 years old.
Just a few years ago.
This intruder. Or when O.J. Simpson finds the guy that killed his wife and young
Ron Goldman.
That's Ron Goldman. That's maybe it's the same person who also broke into the house and killed JonBenét. That's when the same intruder will be found. Yeah.
I like OJ's defense there. You know, she'd been doing all kinds of drugs and what have you, but for $500, they put out a hit on her. That makes no sense at all. We know that the real murderer is in jail. But Jeff, I know you wanted to jump in here on JonBenét.
Basically, no, I had heard. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to get into conjecture pieces or anything like that. We're not going to go there. But obviously, JonBenét, I had read through other articles. I'd read that she had a bedwetting problem, and that possibly could have been a catalyst with.
Well, that's what